Good morning. Another city, another state, another hotel. Oh, crazy, crazy times. I don't even know where to start. So I booked a job last minute. Booked a flight last minute. Arrived at the airport. Went to get a rental, car rental. Car rental place was closed at the airport. And I was trying to book it as I was on the shuttle to the car rental place. And then, good thing I tipped the shuttle guy $5. He helped me, he waited for me. He's like, if it's closed, I'll be here waiting for you to take you back to the airport, which was cool. And of course, I had to have my many pieces of luggage because I never know how long I'm going to be gone for. And there's my stomach growling. I'm starving. I didn't eat anything yesterday but a yogurt, some strawberries, and a protein shake on the way to the airport as I was running late. Yeah, so I get to the airport. I'm running late. I've got like 30 minutes left to catch my flight. Well, I had like an hour, but by the time I got through security, sorry, I just woke up. And I get stopped at the security because I had forgotten my big ass knife in my purse that I threw in my backpack. I pulled out the other one. I had two. I had like a fold up one, and then the big one that was in the sheath was still in the bottom of my purse. I had this big old like Bowie sized knife in my purse. They're like, do you have anything sharp in there? And I'm like, going, huh? Maybe I do. And they're like, well, it looks like you have a big knife in there at the bottom of your backpack. I was like, oh. And this has happened many times. I was just always in a rush, and I think I have all my knives because I have so many knives in so many different pockets, and I switch up like backpacks and purses, and I just need to dump everything out on the floor every time I jump on a plane. Anyway, huge knife. And usually they'll you either decide to leave it with them, or luckily I was in a rush and I was running late, and I decided to park at the airport since I was just going to be gone, 3 or 4 days. So I'm like, I just need to take it back to my car. I cleaned out my car. I was in the door and I threw it in my purse, and I forgot that I had it in there. I had another knife that I put in my check bag, and I just didn't realize that I still had this one in there. So they were like, well, the supervisor wants you to wait in case, he wants to talk to you. And so I waited for like 20 minutes, and it's like, I'm like, I'm gonna miss my flight. I have 30 minutes left to catch the plane. She's like, well, go to that glass booth over there. That's where your passport is, because they asked for my ID. And I said, well, my passport's in the top pocket there. They took it out and gave it to him with the knife. So I'm like, I'm gonna miss my flight. So I went over there, and they're like, yeah, you have to sit and wait. We have to do paperwork. I've never had paperwork done on me before. I guess maybe I've never had a knife this size in my bag before. Usually it's like something small that I missed. I'm like, well, I'm gonna miss my flight. It's like in 20 minutes. Can I just run it back to my car? It's parked they're like, well, we have to do paperwork. I'm like, it's parked in the long-term parking. I said, I have a CCW. Do you want to see my CCW? He's like, no, we don't need it. And I was like, okay. And I've got pre-check. It's not like that they don't know who I am. I'm like, I'm a Las Vegas local. And they're like, well, what do you use this backpack for? I was like, many things. It was in my purse. Must have been cleaning my car. It was in my car. And I threw it in there, and I forgot I had it in there. And I had another one, and I told them the story again. I'm like, I put it in my check bag, and I forgot I had it. Another one in there. I was in a rush to get to the airport. I just want to put it back in my purse. In my car. And they're like, what do you use it for? I'm like, I actually sell knives. And like, I have a ton of knives. I just sell outdoor sporting gear. And they're like, oh, well, how much is this one? I'm like, I don't remember. Anyway, they realized I was, just accidentally put it in there. Had it in there. And I had like 15 minutes left. So I was like, can you show me which way the garage is? And he showed me, and I ran it to the garage. And there was like a ton of people in the elevator going up to the floor where I parked. And then there were people sitting smoking at the bottom of the stairs where, so it was just like 2 flights of stairs. So I ran up the stairs with my roller bag and my backpack, and I threw it in the car, and I'm running and go through security again. I'm like, it's me again. They're like, yeah, we remember you. And I've got clear too, so not only do I have TSA pre-check, I've got clear, which is like another company that pre-checks you, which is great to have because they get you right. There's less people that have clear. So I got in the front of the line. You don't have to take your shoes off. And then I've got TSA pre-check as well. So I hold my pass in the front, with me when I go through the security, and I just show them pre-check, and you don't have to, take your shoes off or do all that extra stuff. So that's helpful. So don't just have one or the other. Have both pre-check and clear. That's really helpful. So I hear Jhoanna Trias last call, and I'm like running and sweating, and I've got my mask on, or I got a mask. Well, I took the mask off, but I had a visor, like a clear visor, so I can breathe, and I'm like running. I barely make it, and I have checked bags, so it's not like I could go like standby. I didn't want to go standby. I just wanted to make my flight. So I made my flight, barely made it. I'm exhausted. I'm sweating like a pig. Do pigs sweat? I don't know. So I don't get my window seat, which I always want because I want to sleep up against the window. So I had an aisle seat, and then I've got a woman coughing behind me, and then a man coughing and sneezing like to the side of me, but he's in the window, so we've got a pretty good distance between us and the hall. But still, clearly the guy was sick. And at the end I was like offering cough drops, and he was like, no, like a handful of cough drops. He's like, no thanks. Because we're all standing like waiting to get off the plane, and there's like no social distancing when you're standing to get off the plane. Everyone's standing right next to each other. So I've got my visor and my clear visor plastic face shield on, and my mask. Well, when I got on the plane, they were like, you have to wear a mask as well. I was like, okay. And that's a thing, like, if you don't want to catch it in the air, like, couldn't you catch it in your eye? If you don't have like glasses on or a face shield to cover your eyes, if this coronavirus thing is floating around in the air, or somebody coughs on you, couldn't you get it if they coughed in your eye? I mean, like, what is the mask? I mean, I believe that the mask does protect somewhat. When I travel, I usually have a scarf, like a sheer scarf that I put over my head and my face, and people are probably think I'm really strange, and then I sleep that way. I put something over my head, my whole head, because I don't want to, you know, anything, if somebody coughs, landing on me. This whole flying thing is very complicated. Anyway, what else? Trying to shorten this. So I get to the airport, I land in the city, the rental car place is closed. The shuttle guy takes me back to the airport. I'm standing in Uber Lyft. I went to my hotel, and then I realized there was another airport that I could go to. So I had like $50. I went to the airport. That one was open 24 hours. And I'm like, why are you open 24 hours? The other one's not. And they're like, oh, they close at 9. Why does it close at 9? Like, well, why didn't you make a reservation? I was like, it was a last minute trip, blah, blah, blah. I was trying to do it on the way there. Anyway, I was there like for 3 days. It's $500. I'm like, what do you mean $500? Because you want to return it to the other airport. And then on the way, I called my rental company that I was rent at. And they're like, well, there's no one way. You can't take it to, we don't have any cars available to take back to the other airport. You got to return it. I was like, forget it. Let me just do it online or do it when I get there. I'd already spent like $50 on it, on a Lyft ride there. So I was like, I just could have had a rental for that, for the day, whatever. So I get on Costco Travel, and it wouldn't let me book. It was like, you know, past midnight, and I was trying to book, and the last time it would let me book, it was 11:30. Well, it was past 11:30, so of course it wouldn't let me like book for that day because the time wasn't for that night. So I get there, and they said it was like $500. I was like, forget it. Okay, how much to just like return to the same airport, and I'll just take a $50 Lyft ride back to the other airport. They're like, it's $300. I was like, $300? That's ridiculous. So I'm trying to book it on Costco Travel, and it's past midnight, and then I booked it for 12:30, even though it was midnight, 12:30 a.m., and it finally booked. And I said, okay, I was able to book one for like $168 for 3 nights, which is a lot better, half as much as what they quoted me. And I get to take it back to the other airport. So she's like, well, it's not 12:30 yet. I'm like, it's 12:05 a.m. Can you know, it won't let me book it for any sooner. Anyway, she processes it. By the time she's done, it's like 12:20. So I get my car, I go to get out, and nobody's at the gate. Like, I can't get out, and I don't want to drive back, and I'm honking, and she's comes out, and she opens the gate for me. I'm like, oh, are you by yourself? And she just doesn't say anything. She just lets me out. I was like, I'm like, you know, because it's not her fault. She's by herself, but still, so I was answering, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I'm trying to be nice, even though I'm just like, I'm so tired. Anyway, it's been that kind of night. At least I got a nice, you know, a great deal on a hotel, and with a kitchen and like a little mini studio, I guess, and a bathtub. So I get there, and I'm like, I looked online, and I reserved a bathtub, a room with a bathtub, and he like checks like 3 rooms with no bathtub, just a shower. and he had to come up and like change my key like 3 times. By the time I got to bed, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I hadn't eaten anything. I stopped at the convenience store or gas station to get some juice. But I thought there would be like a place, like a Denny's or something, open 24 hours somewhere. I don't know, I was just too tired. I just went to sleep finally. It's been a long night. Then I get up early to do like the continental breakfast thing. And it was just a couple eggs and some toast with no toaster, and there was no silverware and whatever. So I just grabbed some eggs, asked for yogurt, a couple things that they were out, brought it to my room, and here I am. I need to go back to sleep. This is gonna be a challenging weekend. I can already tell. Have a great weekend, everyone. It's Saturday.